Build a polished wardrobe that shows you stay you wherever you go with Mack Weldon. Use code MAC25 for 25% off your first order of $125 or more at MackWeldon.com.
Welcome to the deep dive. Look, forget endless scrolling, forget feeling overwhelmed. We've done the legwork for you.
We have.
We've taken a really deep dive into a big analysis covering the digital world, and we're pulling out the 10, dominant forces that are basically reshaping the internet right now.
Mm-hmm.
Think of this as your fast track to getting properly informed about what's really driving things.
Exactly. We're basically boiling down a huge amount of info here. The aim is to give you a clear picture of these interconnected trends and, maybe more importantly, why they actually matter to you.
Okay, let's get straight into it then. We're talking about 10 major shifts happening as we speak. First up, we'll unpack the absolute dominance of short-form video.
Can't avoid it.
Right. Then we'll get into the fascinating rise of AI-generated content and what it can do now. We'll also look at how social media is becoming this, major shopping hub.
Yeah, and the pull of those really specific online communities, the niche ones.
And beyond the stuff you see right on your screen, we're looking at the underlying tech, too. So, edge computing, why it's getting so important.
And the big one, cybersecurity, always a concern. Plus, how cloud computing is still changing.
Definitely. Then we'll touch on blockchain and its uses beyond crypto, and crucially how all these different trends link up.
Yeah, the synthesis part is key.
So stick with us, and by the end, you should have a much better handle on, navigating the digital world, both now and what's coming next.
Sounds good.
Okay, first up, short-form video. It honestly feels like our brains have been rewired for this stuff, hasn't it?
That's definitely a core theme in the analysis we looked at. They talk about this micro-moment revolution.
Micro-moment revolution, okay.
Yeah. Basically, grabbing and holding attention now means delivering something impactful in, seconds. It's a fundamental change in how we consume stuff, and it's forcing a huge rethink in content creation and distribution.
It makes sense. You think about TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels. They're just dominant. What's the secret sauce? What makes these tiny videos so addictive? It feels almost engineered.
Well, it sort of is. It's a mix of things these platforms have nailed. They're algorithms, incredibly good at feeding you stuff you like, highly personalized feeds.
Very good sometimes.
Right. Then there's the sheer volume, the speed of new content, plus how easy it is to make videos on your phone now. It keeps it feeling fresh. And, the endless scroll, the likes, the shares, those are reward loops. They keep you hooked.
And it's not just time wasting, is it? These short videos seem to be driving culture now. Trends pop up and spread like wildfire.
Oh, absolutely. Short-form video is a massive trendsetter. It influences fashion, music, even the slang we use, social norms. It all moves incredibly fast through these platforms. The speed and reach are just, unprecedented.
So if you're a brand, a business trying to get noticed, how do you even compete for eyeballs in these few seconds? What's the winning strategy?
Well, the analysis shows a big shift in marketing. Brands are really focusing on making content that's super concise, super engaging, specifically for these platforms. Authenticity matters a lot.
Right.
And genuine creativity that fits the vibe of, say, TikTok versus Reels. You need to understand the platform's culture. It's about telling a quick story, which is a totally different skill.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's shift gears now from super fast video to something that feels, almost futuristic, but it's here now. AI-generated content.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It really is. Just a little while ago, it felt like a gimmick, but now. So how far have these AI tools actually come?
It's a genuine paradigm shift, honestly. These AI models can create text, images, audio, even video, and it's often remarkably sophisticated. The key thing to grasp is it's not just regurgitating info.
Right.
It's learning underlying patterns from huge data sets and then generating something new based on that understanding.
So way beyond simple chatbots, what kinds of AI models are doing this? Are there different types?
Yeah, there's a whole range. Often specialized. You have large language models, LLMs, they're great at text. Diffusion models are behind a lot of the amazing AI images you see.
Okay.
And increasingly smart models for audio and video, too. The common factor is data, massive amounts of it. You could say the AI develops an intuition by seeing so much content, letting it mimic styles, formats.
Like learning the rules of writing or the features of different images.
Exactly. An image model learns visual patterns, a language model learns tone and structure.
It feels like yesterday AI content was just a fun experiment, maybe a bit weird. Now it's a serious tool of lots of industries. How did that happen so fast, this jump from novelty to utility?
That's exactly it. AI is moving really quickly from, lab projects into real-world uses across so many areas. Content creation, marketing, R&D. It's proving valuable for making things more efficient, automating boring tasks, and even, sparking new kinds of creativity humans might not have thought of alone.
Okay, let's pivot slightly. Thinking about how we buy things online, our social feeds seem less like just places to chat and more like storefronts now.
Yeah.
What's behind this rise of social commerce?
Well, it's been a gradual thing, this merging of social platforms and e-commerce features. But it's really taken off. People spend so much time on social media
Sure.
that wanting a smoother, easier way to shop right there just makes sense. It removes the friction, from seeing something you like to actually buying it.
So it's basically meeting people where they already are. Makes sense.
Yeah.
What else is pushing it forward?
A few things. The platforms themselves are getting way more sophisticated, adding more shopping tools. Then there's the power of influence creators, friends recommending stuff. That drives purchases.
Right, social proof.
Exactly. And people seem to want a more, interactive or engaging shopping experience than just browsing a standard e-commerce site.
Which platforms are really leading this? Who are the big players making social shopping happen?
Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. They've invested heavily. They have things like shoppable posts you can buy directly.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Live shopping events, too, creating that urgency. Integrated checkouts. It really blurs the line between just scrolling and actually buying something.
For us, the consumers, what's the main appeal? Why buy through a social feed instead of going to a website?
Convenience is huge. Discovering something and buying it without leaving the app, that's very smooth.
Definitely.
Trust is another factor, maybe seeing an influencer you follow use it or seeing comments from other buyers. And yeah, it can just feel more dynamic, more visual than a typical online store.
Okay, and flipping that, for businesses,
Yeah.
why should they focus on social commerce? What's the business reason?
It's pretty compelling. You're reaching the customers right where they hang out most.
Right.
You can tap into that direct connection, potentially higher engagement. It opens up new sales channels, lets you build your brand through more maybe authentic interactions, and you get real-time feedback on what people like.
Okay. Now, shifting from buying to connecting, it feels like the giant one-size-fits-all social platforms are maybe fragmenting a bit. People seem drawn to smaller, more focused online groups. What's going on with these thriving niche communities?
The analysis calls it a kind of reorganization of the digital public square. People are moving towards more specialized spaces online, places that really cater to their specific interests, maybe moving away from the noise of the big platforms.
It's amazing how specific some of these interests are. You find online homes for everything from like super obscure hobbies to really specific professional fields. Can you give some examples?
Oh, the range is incredible. You've got communities for, collecting vintage postcards or mastering complex board games,
Right.
or specific music genres, niche book clubs, indie film fans, but also support groups for people with shared, sometimes very specific life experiences or identities. The internet's ability to connect based on almost any shared interest is really visible here.
What need do these focused communities fill? Why are they so attractive?
Well, they often tap into really core human desires, don't they? Connecting with people who get you, getting validation for your passions, accessing expertise you wouldn't find elsewhere. In these spaces, you find your tribe, basically. You get targeted support, you can learn from experts in that specific niche.
And where do these communities gather? Are new platforms popping up, or is it happening within existing ones?
It's a mix. Some have dedicated websites or forums built just for them, but tons flourish on Reddit, in subreddits.
Yeah, Reddit's huge for this.
Discord servers, too, for specific topics. Private Facebook groups are still big for shared interests. Even places like Instagram using specific hashtags to build a community around visual content.
And it's interesting how they develop their own cultures, right?
Yeah.
Their own rules, inside jokes, slang.
Absolutely. Over time, they build these shared understandings, unwritten rules, unique lingo. It creates a really strong group identity based on that shared passion. That sense of belonging, that unique culture is a big part of the appeal and why people stick around.
Okay, we've covered connecting, watching, shopping. Let's get into the plumbing now, the infrastructure, edge computing, hearing this term a lot more. Why is it suddenly so important?
Yeah, to get why edge computing matters, you need to think about the limits of the traditional cloud model, the centralized one.
Okay.
We're generating just insane amounts of data now from all our connected devices, sending all of that back to some central data center to be processed. Well, it causes delays, latency.
Right, the lag.
Exactly. And bandwidth issues, costs for transferring all that data, it adds up.
So edge computing is about moving the processing closer to where the data is actually made, out at the edge of the network. What's the core idea?
Precisely. It's about putting computing resources, servers, storage, networking much nearer to the devices and sensors generating the data. It's a distributed setup, allowing more processing and analysis to happen locally.
And the big win from having it nearby is less delay, reduced latency. Why is that such a big deal?
Reduced latency is absolutely critical for more and more applications. Think about things needing real-time reactions.
Like autonomous vehicles needing to brake instantly, industrial robots needing immediate feedback, augmented reality needing to feel seamless. Even tiny delays in processing can be a huge problem, even dangerous. Edge cuts down those delays dramatically by processing data close to the source. Faster decisions, faster responses. The analysis also mentioned efficiency filtering data at the edge. How does that save bandwidth and money?
By processing data locally, right there at the edge, the system can figure out what's important and what's not. It can filter out the noise, the redundant stuff, before sending anything up to the main cloud. This massively reduces the amount of data clogging up the network, saves bandwidth, and lowers costs for data transfer and cloud storage.
And beyond speed and efficiency, it sounds like edge also means more reliability, more autonomy. How does spreading out the processing help that?
Yeah, because edge devices can often operate independently, at least to some extent. If the connection back to the central cloud drops out, which happens, the edge device can keep processing data locally. This ability to work autonomously makes the whole system more resilient, less likely to go down completely just because of one network issue. Critical operations aren't totally reliant on that central link.
Okay, switching gears again. But it's unavoidable. We can't talk about the internet today without talking cybersecurity. The analysis hammered this home. It's still a massive, major concern. It feels like new threats pop up constantly. What does this expanding threat landscape look like?
It really is constantly shifting and growing. You've got the classics like malware viruses, worms, but also increasingly sophisticated stuff like ransomware, which is devastating. Phishing attacks, trying to trick people, are getting smarter. And then there are these advanced persistent threats, APTs, often state-backed, aiming for long-term spying or disruption. Just the fact that everything is connected creates so many potential doorways for attackers.
It's a lot to worry about. What are the main weak spots in this connected world that criminals are targeting most?
Well, a few areas keep coming up. IoT devices, Internet of Things, often have really weak security. They can be an easy way into a network.
Your smart fridge could be a risk.
Eventually, yeah. Software vulnerabilities are huge bugs that haven't been patched to give attackers an opening. And honestly, human error is still a massive factor.
Clicking the wrong link.
Clicking the wrong link, using weak passwords, falling for social engineering.
Yep. We're also seeing more attacks targeting the supply chain compromising software before it even gets to you. And old, outdated systems, legacy systems, they often have known unfixable security holes.
It feels overwhelming just listing them. The analysis really stressed the human element here. What are the basic things we all need to do to protect ourselves better?
The human firewall is crucial. Strong password habits are non-negotiable, unique, complex passwords for everything. And using multi-factor authentication, MFA, wherever you can.
That extra code thingy. Exactly. Being super vigilant about phishing emails and messages, knowing the common tricks, keeping your software updated, applying those security patches promptly is vital. Being mindful about data security, what you share online, and for organizations, having an incident response plan, knowing what to do when, not if, something happens.
It really does sound like this constant back and forth, a tech arms race between attackers and defenders. What's on the defense side? What are the cutting-edge tools and strategies being used now?
Defenses are getting smarter, too. There's a huge push toward using AI and machine learning to spot weird patterns, predict threats before they hit.
Okay.
Next-gen firewalls and intrusion detection systems are more intelligent. Endpoint detection and response, EDR, gives much better visibility into what's happening on individual computers or phones. Same systems collect security data from all over an organization to find correlations. Threat intelligence platforms share info about near attacks. And people are even exploring blockchain for certain security applications.
Okay, let's loop back to the cloud. It's the backbone for so much of this, but the analysis says it's still evolving quite a bit. What are the big trends shaping cloud computing now?
Yeah, the cloud isn't static. It's matured a lot. We're seeing more hybrid cloud setups companies mixing their own private infrastructure with public cloud services.
Makes sense. Best of both worlds sometimes.
Right. And multi-cloud strategies are common now, using services from AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, maybe others. that helps avoid getting locked into one vendor, lets you optimize costs, and boost resilience. We're also seeing industry-specific clouds emerging, tailored for finance or healthcare needs,
Interesting.
and sovereign clouds, which address data location rules within specific countries.
I keep hearing serverless and function as a service, or phase. What do those actually mean in the cloud world?
They represent a pretty big shift in how you build and run apps in the cloud. Serverless means developers can just focus on writing code without worrying about managing the underlying servers.
The cloud provider handles that.
Exactly. Apps become event-driven code only runs when something specific triggers it. Often, apps are broken into tiny, independent pieces called microservices or run in containers. This makes them super scalable. And a big plus is costs you often only pay for the exact compute time you use. Very granular.
And AI and machine learning seems like they're deeply tied to the cloud now.
Oh, completely. The cloud is basically the place where most AML development and deployment happens now. Cloud providers offer specialized hardware as a service, like powerful GPUs needed for training AI models.
AI infrastructure as a service, right?
AI IaaS. And Malas machine learning as a service, which gives you pre-built tools and algorithms. Plus, they offer ready-made AI services for things like image recognition, language translation, speech to text, making advanced AI much more accessible.
We talked about edge computing earlier. How does that mesh with the cloud? Is it replacing it, or do they work together?
Definitely working together. It's a symbiotic relationship, not a competition. Edge handles the immediate local processing near the data source, reducing latency, while the cloud provides the massive storage, the heavy-duty analytics power, the central management. We're seeing sophisticated ways to manage data flowing between edge and cloud. Like, you might train a complex AI model in the cloud using tons of data,
Right.
and then deploy that trained model out to edge devices so they can make fast local decisions using it. It's a hybrid approach, optimizing for different needs.
Looking even further out, what's next for the cloud? The analysis mentioned some pretty advanced stuff.
Yeah, the future looks pretty wild. Quantum computing integrated into the cloud is a real possibility,
Wow.
letting us tackle problems that are impossible today. Neuromorphic computing systems inspired by the human brain could lead to totally new AI approaches in the cloud. And importantly, there's a huge focus now on making cloud infrastructure more sustainable, reducing its environmental footprint. That's critical.
Okay, critical amount covered. Let's tackle blockchain. Often confusing. Seems tied only to crypto. But the analysis suggests it's much broader. What's the basic idea?
Okay, blockchain at its simplest. It's a shared, distributed digital ledger. Think of a shared spreadsheet that everyone in a network has a copy of.
Okay.
Instead of one central place keeping the record is copied across many computers. The magic comes from a few core ideas. Immutability, once something's recorded, is basically impossible to change. Transparency, usually everyone on the network can see the record. Decentralization, no single boss controls it. And consensus, the network agrees collectively on what gets added.
We mostly hear about public ones like Bitcoin. Are there others?
Yeah,
Different uses?
definitely. Public blockchains like Bitcoin are open to anyone. But you also have private blockchains where only authorized members can join, maybe within a single company. And consortium blockchains run by a group of organizations. Each type has different trade-offs: openness versus control, privacy levels making them suitable for different jobs.
Finance obviously got shaken up by crypto.
Yeah.
But the analysis says blockchain's impact on finance goes way beyond that.
Yeah, absolutely. Beyond crypto, you've got DeFi, decentralized finance. It's trying to rebuild things like lending, borrowing, trading, but in a decentralized way, often more transparently. Blockchain can also make cross-border payments faster and cheaper. It allows for tokenization, creating digital versions of real-world assets like property or art, and it's being used for more secure ways to manage your digital identity.
Another big area mentioned was supply chains, tracking goods globally. How can blockchain help there?
Its immutability and transparency are perfect for this. You can create a secure, unchangeable record of a product's entire journey from farm to table or factory to store.
So you can prove where something came from.
Exactly. Track provenance, verify it's authentic, fight counterfeits because you have this tamper-proof history. It can make the whole process more efficient because everyone involved sees the same trusted information, building more trust along the chain.
It also sounds like it could give us more control over our own digital identities and data.
That's the idea behind self-sovereign identity, SSI. Using blockchain, so you control your identity credentials, not some central company.
How does that work?
You could store verified credentials like proof of age or a degree on a blockchain you control, and then selectively share just the proof needed without revealing everything. It can also make data sharing more secure and auditable. You have a clear record of who accessed what when.
And it's not just finance and supply chains. The analysis mentioned healthcare, voting, protecting creative work. Quite a spread.
It really is. Healthcare could use it for secure sharing of patient records or tracking medicines to stop fakes. People are exploring it for more secure online voting systems, though that's complex.
Right.
And for artists or inventors, it can create an immutable proof of ownership for their intellectual property, making it easier to manage rights and track usage.
Okay, wow. We've gone through all 10 trends now. But a key point in the analysis was that these aren't happening in isolation. How do they connect? How do they boost each other?
That's maybe the most crucial takeaway. They're deeply intertwined. Think about it. Short-form video needs massive cloud power to stream everything, right? And strong cybersecurity to protect users.
Makes sense.
Or AI-generated content. It can turbocharge social commerce by creating super personalized ads. AI can also help manage those niche communities, moderate content. Edge computing relies on the cloud for overall management. Cybersecurity underpins everything. They feed off each other. Understanding these links is vital to see the bigger picture.
It really feels like data is the common thread running through absolutely everything here. Video engagement data, AI training data, shopping behavior data, security logs. It's all data.
Absolutely. Data is the lifeblood. It's what fuels all these trends. Collecting it, analyzing it, using it effectively. That's what makes these technologies work, learn, and provide value. Whether it's personalizing your feed or spotting a cyber attack, data is fundamental.
And stepping back, so many of these trends feel very user-focused. Personalization, convenience, engagement, short videos for short attention spans, easy social shopping.
Exactly right. A lot of this is driven by trying to meet user needs and preferences better. AI personalization, the convenience of social commerce, the snackable nature of short video, the sense of belonging in niche communities. It all points towards a more user-centric digital world.
And none of it works without the nuts and bolts, the infrastructure.
Yep.
Scalable cloud, fast edge computing, strong cybersecurity. They're the invisible foundations holding it all up.
Couldn't have said it better. That robust, secure infrastructure is the absolute bedrock. Without reliable cloud power, efficient edge processing, and vigilant cybersecurity, none of these exciting trends could really take off or reach their potential.
So after this massive deep dive covering these 10 huge digital forces, what's the bottom line? What should we as listeners trying to make sense of this complex digital age really take away?
I think the main takeaway is just the sheer momentum here. These aren't just passing fads. They are fundamental interconnected shifts that are reshaping our online lives and, frankly, the world. They're disruptive, yes, challenging old ways of doing things, but they also offer incredible opportunities for innovation, for growth, for connection. Having that holistic view, seeing how they link together, is going to be so important for everyone, individuals, businesses, governments, navigating what comes next.
It really does feel like a turning point, how we interact with tech and each other.
Yeah.
These aren't just online changes, they're societal changes too.
Precisely. And as we all live through this evolution, staying curious, being willing to learn and adapt is key. Maybe the best thing for you listening now is to think, how might these interconnected trends create new possibilities for you? In your work, your hobbies, how you connect with the world? What opportunities do you see emerging from this mix of technology and human behavior?